We flew one time. This one I have never told anybody, but we flew one time from Johnson City, Tennessee to Bluefield, West Virginia. It was in the winter time. In his 2-engine, he had a King Air, a nice little King Air. And he was getting his instrument ratings. He didn't have instrument ratings. He didn't have his certificate yet. He was just studying to get his instrument ratings. It was a really foggy night, and I drove from Knoxville to Johnson City and went to his airport. And when I got out of my car, I went to his plane, and he says, "Okay, Ron, you're a little late, but we're ready to go." And I said, "No, Ron," I said, "I'm not going." I said, "Man, look at this. It's a horrible night. It's foggy, and it's starting to snow." And I said, "That's up in the mountains." I said, "This is a dangerous flight." I said, "You're not instrument rated even." I said, "How you going to fly when you can't see?" "Well, I got it. I think I've learned how to do it. I believe I can do it." And I said, "I don't fly with believe me pilots. I fly with real pilots, So he talks me in finally. He says, "I can do it. I can do it. Let's go." It wasn't quite dark. So we get in the plane. It's just me and him. We fly for about 45 minutes, and it gets so socked in that you can't see the end of the wings. And we're up in the mountains, and we're in West Virginia. I mean, you couldn't land there if you could see, because it's all mountain. It's just top of a mountain, down in a valley, top of the next mountain. It's probably the most dangerous place in the country you can fly. And I'm saying, "Ron, let's go back." He goes, "No, we'll miss the show if we go back. Won't have time to drive now." I said, "I don't really think we can do this." He said, "Sure we can do it. Sure we can do it." So he's trying to convince me that we're going to be all right. And we start getting close to the airport. And he starts passing me things. He passes me a stopwatch. And he passes me a chart. And he starts passing these things to me. And he says, "Now you're going to need to help me a little bit." And I said, "What? Oh, wait a minute, man." I said, "I don't know anything about this, Ron." I said, "How much help are you going to need?" And he said, "Well, I ain't never done it. He said, "I've never really landed one when I couldn't see." And I said, "Oh, man, we're up here in the middle of nowhere. The airports in West Virginia are built on the tops of mountains because you can't land in a valley. You can't make a dive over one mountain and then dive down and land in a valley. So they build these airports, and the Bluefield Airport, it sits on the top of a 6,000-foot mountain. So, and I know what the altitudes are. So I'm looking out the window. I can't see the end of the wing. And I look over there at the altimeter, and we're at 5,000 feet. And I go, "Ron, I'm looking at this map of a topography, and I'm looking to the elevations, and most of the mountains are 6,000 feet. And I can't see the wings or anything." And I go, "Ron," I go, we're at 5,000 feet, man." I said, "These mountains around here are 6,000 feet. I said, "How do you know where we are?" And he said, "We're all right. We're in a valley." "How do you know we're in a valley?" I said, "You can't see the end of the wing out there." "Well, I think we're in a valley." And I said, "Gosh almighty, man, we're going to die here, Ron." No. He says, "We'll be fine." So we get close to the airport. And he says, "Okay, Ron," he says, "I need you to set that stopwatch for 30 seconds now. And at 30 seconds, we're going to take heading such and such. We're going to go 282. We're going to, and then we're going to, as soon as I tell you no, you're going to set it again at 15, and we're going to go 285 for 2 minutes." I'm like, "Oh, man, Ron, come on, man. Let's go home. No, let's go back." And he won't go back. He says, "I know I can do it, Ron. I'm telling you, I can do it." So I'm like, "Oh, Ron, we're going to die up here, man." He goes, No, here we go." So I set the clock. I do the deal. And boy, I tell you, we pop out of this cloud. I mean, we've been socked in for 40 minutes, and we pop out, and there's the runway right dead ahead. It's like, I'm thinking, my gosh almighty, I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And we land, and I get off the plane, and I'm kind of pissed at him. I said, "Ron, this has not been a good experience for me." And he goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You going to fly home with me, ain't you?" And I said, "Hell no, I'm not flying home with you, man." I said, "I'm getting in somebody's car." I said, "I'm going to drive home. I'm going to ride home where I can see the road, man. I'm not flying any more with you." It was the last flight I took with him. I probably took maybe 10 flights with him in the time I knew him, but that last one to Bluefield was just too much for me. It was like he was a crazy guy, but he was pretty darn sharp for a guy that didn't have a whole lot of education.